Hello and welcome to another tutorial in the DataYard how-to series. This tutorial shows you how to use DataYard tools to add, edit, and delete email aliases. You might be asking yourself, what is an email alias? Well, an email alias allows you to define an email address and a domain name that you or your business owns and manages, and in this case we'll say yourdomainname.com. And you get to define what goes to the left of that @ symbol in that email address and where email delivered to that email address actually ends up going. As a couple examples, let's look at this one, sue@yourdomainname.com. That's an email alias you can create, you can define, and then you can say that email for that particular email address gets delivered to sue.ydc, which could be a valid DataYard Connect Mail username delivered right here to a mailbox here at DataYard. As another example, we could say that an alias for bob@yourdomainname.com gets delivered to bob123@gmail.com. So an email alias can also deliver to any valid email address, even those outside of the DataYard environment. So who is this tutorial for, and how do we know if this tool will work for you? You have to be users with your own email domain name that you or your business owns and manages. Beyond that, there's a couple of other criteria to know if you qualify. The most obvious one is that you know that this is a DataYard service that you or your business has with DataYard. Perhaps you've worked with our staff on email aliases in the past, and you just know that this is something that we take care of for you. Another requirement, actually, is that you have yourdomainname.com, and of course that's just a placeholder for whatever domain name you might have. You have your own domain name, and the email addresses for that domain name are hosted at DataYard, and DataYard processes email for that domain name. In geek speak, the MX record for your domain points to a DataYard server. And finally, you know you're not a Connect Exchange customer, and you're not using any of the features included with Connect Exchange in your business. You just have simple email addresses, simple email boxes, and aliases within a domain name that you manage. So if you meet all the criteria and this tool will work for you, let's get you to the tool and get started. The easiest way to do it is to open up a browser and type in tools.datayard.us. Your browser will automatically redirect you to the secure version of that page, https://tools.datayard.us, which is a secure version, and you should notice the lock there in the web bar. And then it will prompt you with a login. So to use the tool to edit aliases, you have to go through a couple of steps. First of all, if you haven't already done it, you must first sign up for access to the tool. I'll show you how to do that in just a second, but if you haven't done that, there's no way that you're going to be able to edit aliases for any domain, so make sure you do that first. Assuming that step is done, you log into DataYard Tools with your email address and the password that has been authorized access to the tool for the domains that it's allowed to adjust. Then, once you get past the login screen, you can add, edit, and delete aliases. You can also add, edit, and delete the email catch-all bucket. I'll talk about that when we're inside the tool. And you can also change your password for the email address that we've authorized to the alias editor, which is always a good thing to do from time to time. All right, so let's do a quick demo here and show how this actually works. Again, you just type in tools.datayard.us, press enter, and I'll be prompted with the login screen. Now I happen to have a user already defined. I already have access to this tool, but if you didn't, you would click this sign up link and you would enter your email address that you would want to have access to the tool. And if we recognize the address and it's authorized for a particular domain, we'll set you up. But if you've already got an account and just want to log in, you can type in your email address, and I happen to have it drhugo@nonxps.com, and the password, which I will not share with you, and press login. Once I'm authorized in, I'll see any domains that I'm authorized to touch here in the left navigation bar, and I happen to only be authorized for one domain name, nonxps.com. If I just click that, it'll pop it up over here and populate it with all the aliases that I know of. Now I only have one alias currently defined here, Dr. Hugo at nonxps.com. Let's take a look and see that in more detail here. I'll click the edit link and it'll pop up this window and it will show me that Dr. Hugo at nonxps.com has this destination, drhugo.non. Well, that happens to be a Connect Mail mailbox here, hosted here at DataYard. That's like my Connect Mail username. So when I get email delivered to this particular address, drhugo at nonxps.com, it will get dropped into that Connect Mail mailbox. Now, if I wanted email for this address to go someplace else, I could just type it in. I could say, you know what, I want this to go to bob123 at gmail.com and press this plus symbol, and it would add it. And I can keep adding additional destinations for this address. When what that means is that any email that comes into this address, drhugo at nonxps.com, will go to everybody listed here in this destination stack. Well, I really don't want bob123 at gmail.com to get this. I have no idea who he is, so I'm going to delete him. You get warned before you actually do the deletion, which is always a good thing. And I'm ready to close that out. Now let's say I wanted to add another doctor to the non-XPS domain name. Let's say I wanted to add an alias for Dr. Sven at nonxps.com. I don't need to type in the domain name because it's already here. And let's say I wanted that to go to bob123 at gmail.com. Add that as a destination. I could add sue123 at gmail.com if I wanted to. I could keep adding destinations all day long if I wanted them to go there. But I don't. I don't want those two people to get it. I just want this to go to Sven, Dr. Sven dot non-XPS, a local Connect mailbox. So that's where that's going to go. Save my changes, and now I have two aliases defined here. But let's say over time, Dr. Sven leaves, so I need to delete him and get rid of him. And let's say instead of typing all of these individual email addresses, I just wanted to find a catch-all, and I want everything that comes in at nonxps.com to just go to Dr. Hugo. And the way to do that is with a catch-all. A catch-all is an alias for your domain name that acts like a wildcard and will catch all emails that are sent to email addresses in your domain that don't exist. That's important to note. Any alias that you've already defined will get delivered the way that we've defined them. But if you just don't happen to have that email alias defined, we can set up the catch-all so that it gets it. Okay, so I want the catch-all email address, anything at nonxps.com that I haven't already defined, to go to drhugo.non. And again, I can keep adding destinations all day long if I want to, but I just want him to be the one to get it. Save those changes, and there we go. Now, there's other features that you can do here. For example, we can come over here and we can copy an email alias. Let's say we're going to set up multiple email aliases with the same destination, and we don't have to recreate it. We just copy that and say we're going to copy this Dr. Sven at nonxps.com, and boom, there it is. Dr. Sven delivers to Dr. Hugo. I'm going to delete that because I really don't want that. Let's also say that I want to disable this particular address for a time. I can flip this. It's like a toggle switch. It will stop email flow for Dr. Hugo at nonxps and disable that. And you can tell that it's disabled because it has a red on-off switch now instead of a green one, so it's not actually active. And if I want to go and turn that back on, I can just re-enable it. There we go. One other thing that I can do is I can change the password for the login email that I used to access the tool, which was drhugo at nonxps.com. And the way that I do that is I just come up here to the change password box, enter in my new password, and confirm it down here. And I would have to abide by all of the qualifications for a good password here. It has to be at least 8 characters long at least one lowercase letter, at least one uppercase, at least one number, at least one special character, and the two passwords have to match. And if they do, you press change password. It sets your password to that password. And again, that's just the password for access to this tool. It doesn't change the password to your email box at all. It's just the password for you to be able to access this tool. All right, so we've edited aliases. We've changed the password for my login account here. See the domains here listed on the left. That's pretty much all there is to the alias editor. I'm going to go ahead and log out. Go back to here and tell you that if you need additional help, technical support is available. We're just a phone call or an email away. So you can phone us at 937-226-6896, option 1, or you can email us at support@datayard.us. Thank you very much. I hope you found it useful for editing your own email aliases.